Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Today we're going to talk about the current state of the bump stock ban and why it is still so important that we're fighting back. Now, I'm sure you all remember that back in February of 2018, President Trump decided that he wanted to ban bump stocks. Now, at the time, bump stocks were legal, but he advised the ATF to go ahead and take a look at the regulations one more time. And just like the ATF has done time and time again, they decided to reinterpret the regulations in order to ban bump stocks and make it illegal to own one. The interesting thing is people that legally purchase and own these had to surrender them, give them up, or destroy them. If not, without compensation from the government, they could receive up to 10 years in jail or a $250,000 fine per violation. Now again, this is people's legally owned property that they would either have to destroy or give away without compensation. Now, one of the biggest problems about this is not necessarily just the ban on bump stocks, but the fact that you have a government agency like the ATF making law when that's not their job. It's the job of Congress to make law, not the job of the ATF. So when we talk about the bump stock ban and the fight against the bump stock ban, that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about limiting these government agencies' ability to essentially change law at will. Now, we all know that the ATF has way too much power already, and when you add to that the ability to make and change law, you can really end up with a rogue agency pretty quickly. The ability to make and change law should be left to Congress, not to bureaucrats and not to agencies. You know, we elected people into Congress to do just that, to essentially work and vote and make laws on our behalf. You know, we are the people, and the people are supposed to fill Congress. These people that are appointed to different agencies like the ATF should not have the ability to make law or change law unilaterally, especially when it affects people in such a drastic way. You're talking about innocent, law-abiding, good people who overnight could be turned into felons. And so that is what we dealt with back in 2018. Now, the fight has still continued. The FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition, and other groups have decided that they are going to make it their mission to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Now, to give you guys an example of how the ATF can just simply change rules and make laws at will, you guys might remember that a little while back they decided that it was illegal to shoulder a pistol brace. But then again, a little bit later on, they decided, okay, maybe no, it is legal to shoulder a pistol brace. And so people that were fearful of these new rule changes finally got a sigh of relief because, you know, they decided that they were going to interpret it in a way that we all saw as the correct way and beneficial to our cause. But you could see how easy it was to go against that. The ATF just simply needs to reinterpret something and bam, something is illegal, it can be banned, and there really isn't any oversight when it comes to the ATF. The ATF lacks that oversight and control and is an organization that could put people in jail. And so we need to be very, very careful about that. Now, there is a case going on right now. I believe it's actually being heard by the Supreme Court or considered. It's up for consideration at the Supreme Court right now. And I want to read you guys the summary and the plaintiffs. This is coming directly from the Firearms Policy Coalition website, which is firearmspolicy.org, or I'll put a link down below. Make sure you guys check that out and become a member. These guys are doing great work. Federal lawsuit challenging the ATF/President Trump ban on bump stock devices by executive fiat. Now, the plaintiffs on this one are going to be Damian Guedes, I'm sorry if I butcher that, Firearms Policy Foundation, which is also part of the FPC, just in case you guys didn't know, the Madison Society Foundation, Florida Carry Inc., Missouri State Rep. Shane Roden. So the defendants on this one are going to be the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, ATF Acting Director Thomas Brandon, Attorney General William Barr, by substitution, and United States of America. So you can see that we have the FPC and other organizations that are actively going after the ATF for these rulemaking, for this, you know, like they said, executive fiat. These things were changed and new rules were created, new laws were created by essentially going around Congress. And so this is a case that we need to pay close attention to. We cannot forget about. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Florida right now, in Virginia. There's a lot of stuff going on in my new home state of Nevada with new red flag laws. and new transfer laws and all sorts of new stuff that we got here. But there is a lot going on across the country in terms of the Second Amendment. But I don't hear many people talking about the bump stock ban fight that's still going on. So we need to make sure that we stay on top of this because, again, if this is heard by the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court rules that these agencies cannot change rules like that without first going through Congress to change a law, then again, this is a very, very important ruling. It affects more than just bump stocks. It affects basically every decision that the ATF would make that would simply reinterpret a law. So if you can, make sure you become a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition. If you have a few extra bucks in your pocket and, we can very easily spend $20, $25, right? Make sure that you donate that to them because they're the ones that are on the front line right now fighting for our Second Amendment rights. These are the guys that are in court and they rely on public funding to make this happen. So we got to help them out in any way possible. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.